we got to keep tabs on the quarterback position in general in the NFL, but we mentioned it off the top, especially with what's going on with the New York Jets. After Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian somehow made the Jets offense look worse last week, Michael, Tim Boyle has been released. Brett Rippon has been signed, and there were all of those reports yesterday from Zach Rosenblatt and Diana Rossini that the team wanted to bring Zach Wilson back as QB1. He felt hesitant about stepping back into the role, whether it be for injury concerns or what have you. Head coach Robert Saleh spoke to media yesterday and addressed some of those reports.
If he was reluctant to play, guys, he wouldn't be here. All right. I actually coincidentally just got done speaking with him. He came in about a half hour ago, and we had a really good conversation. The young man wants the ball. He wants to start. He believes he's the best quarterback in the room and best quarterback for this team and the guy who gives us the best chance to win. And I'll tell you guys the same thing I told him. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that he wants to play. I'm just not there yet.
He also, later on in the day, went on the Michael Kay show in his usual weekly spot and said it's conceivable that Wilson made a comment to a teammate about being reluctant to return to the lineup, which got leaked. Saleh said that he wouldn't hold that against the player, but he'll make judgments based on direct conversations.
I mean, this is hilarious. This is an absence of leadership completely, right? I mean, he denies the story, then acknowledges it might be true, and says that Zach wants to be the starter and thinks it gives him the best chance, but he's not sure of that. But 2 weeks earlier, Zach was really improving. Like, how do you believe anything? I mean, how do you believe anything?
It's such a mess in New York.
I mean, like, look, and then not only does he puts Tim Boyle in the game, but after one bad game, he cuts Boyle. Like, what's that? Like, I thought Boyle was your guy. And all of a sudden, you're just going to give up on him after a game? I mean, that's, like Boyle, what did he do? Did he set the house on fire? Did he take the Super Bowl trophies and run around the parking lot like George Costanza? I mean, like, what are we doing here? What kind of professional? We're a $1 billion organization, but let's bring everybody back because once we get Aaron back, everything's going to be fine. You can see that. It's as obvious as the nose on my face. Just bring Aaron back and everything in Jet World will be fine. It's no problem. Bring one guy back. It'll make it all better.
Everything will be fixed. It's of course Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays today, so I'm sure that he'll have to address all of these rumors on the McAfee show. We'll get any quotes and updates that we can as our program goes on. The Jets, meanwhile, Michael, as I look at their spread against the Houston Texans coming up this week, the Jets are taking money right now. They've gone down from 6.5 to 6 in the last couple of seconds while we've been talking about this game. Total 33. The Jets, in their 5-game losing streak, Michael, have only mustered a total of 45 points during that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been ugly. But here's what I think we have to be prepared for, Stormy, and we got to get a lead on. Not that we're all weather people here, but there is a indication of bad weather coming on the East Coast this weekend, and it's going to be some high winds and rain once again. It seems like every weekend we're getting rain here, and so you've got to have to be careful here, especially with these big numbers. I'm not sure we'll know exactly what it will be. But they are predicting, as the game moves later into the day, that right now looking at 15-mile-an-hour winds in New York City with precipitation. So that is a cause for concern. Detroit, Chicago, apparently there's going to be gusts up to 20 miles an hour. So I think as you're looking at these games today, you got to be really careful. The under is going to continue to work down, not because of the quarterbacking play, which is understandable, it would, but because of the weather.
Yeah, definitely got to keep an eye on those, especially when it comes to the wind. I feel like we talk about that a lot here, but the impact that has specifically on the game. To wrap things up here, though, with New York, Michael, we talked a little bit yesterday, and you've said it numerous times on the pod or here on the Lombardi line, just that Zach Wilson, it feels like he doesn't really love football. He doesn't really feel like he's that type of guy. He doesn't have that kind of interest. But if you have to imagine you want to play in the NFL, right? Like, if you have the opportunity, it seems so bizarre to be hesitant to want to come back into a game, to try to maybe like in New York, it's not working for you, but maybe somewhere else you could be a backup. We know these top tier picks get extra longevity when it comes to that role across the National Football League. They're given the benefit of the doubt for where they're picked. Like, he could find somewhere else to turn things around for himself a little bit. I don't know if obviously it feels like his career is over in New York, but if you want a job somewhere else at some point, you should probably get out there on the football field and show that you don't have the attitude and reputation that people think you do.
Yeah, I think so. And I think these little tidbits that have been leaked, and Saleh said that it may be true. But to me, I think it's really clear that he doesn't just love the sport. I mean, it's just not innately in him. And I don't think he's ever had it. It's always come so easy for him that he's never really had to fight through and be into this situation with the New York media, with the constant badgering, and frankly, whether it's been the coach coaching him. So I think it's really hard to handle it, and I think he's having a hard time with it. And the National Football League requires incredible competitive stamina. It's such a long season. It's such a marathon that you've got to be willing to do the same thing over and over and over again when you don't have success. You can't look differently when you win than when you lose. And I think that's a hard thing for him.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.